Okay, you guys, so now we're going to talk about getting ready to go to CDL school, okay? So keep in mind that I went to CR England, so this is not going to be across the board for every CDL school. They all have their own curriculum and their own way of doing things, but I'm going to give you my experience as far as going to CR England. Some things will be the same and across the board for any trucking school that you go to, and some, however, are going to be different. So anyway, let's get into it. So the first thing that you're going to learn your first week when you go to CDL school is you're going to learn about your permit. So basically that whole week you're going to be doing a lot of book work. You're going to be learning a lot of terms. You're going to be learning a lot of questions and getting the answers and learning everything that you need to learn in order to get your permit from the DMV. Now, my recommendation, if you can, is to do this before you even go into truck driving school. It will speed up your process. You won't have to be in school as long, and you can do this at your own pace. However, if you cannot make that happen, that will be a part of your first week of CDL school. So that's the first thing. Okay, so after your first week, you get past that, you learn everything that it is about your permit. They give you a day, or you just walk in, you go take your test, you get your permit, you pass that part, you're going to move on to the second phase, second week, and that is when you're going to be outside and you are going to learn your first maneuvers. And there's three of them. There's alley dock, there's parallel parking, and there's offset. So alley docking is when you dock at an angle, which you'll be doing that a lot when you go to shippers. Parallel parking, you won't necessarily do that a lot at shippers or receivers or anything like that, but you will do that time to time at truck stops, at rest areas, so on and so forth. Offset you will also use a lot when you go to shippers or receivers and they make you move from one lane to the other. So all of these maneuvers are relatively important. The next things that you will also learn is your end cap, everything that's inside of your truck, all of these gadgets in here, how to work them, how to use it. You will also learn everything that's under your hood of your truck and everything that's the back of your truck all the way back to the trailer. And then lastly, you will do a road test and learn everything that you need to do while being on the road. So that's pretty much the basis of trucking school. It's just pretty much learning and testing out for your permit, learning the in and outs of your truck, and then road tests and what they expect for you to pass. After that, then they're going to give you a date with an instructor, and then you're going to have to take the test. So that's pretty much it. You test out, you got your CDL, and you're on the road, or you're waiting for a trainer actually to be on the road. Okay, now lastly, let's talk about pre-screening, and this is actually going to be done right when you get to CDL school, okay? So just know this is more so CR England. Like I said, I don't know how other schools do things, but when I went to CR England, they're going to make you take a neck test. That's one of the things they do. They want to make sure you don't have sleep apnea or nothing like that. However, if you do fail, it's not a big deal. They're just going to make sure you go to the doctor. A doctor's going to clear you, and then you can go ahead and continue to go back to school. It does prolong your process and all that good stuff, but you'll still be in the game. So the next thing they're going to ask you to do is walk under the truck. All they want to do is just make sure you got good knees, you're healthy, you can walk under the truck without touching the floor. Easy peasy. The next thing they're going to do is give you a vision test. This is nothing different than when you go get a checkup or when you go to the DMV. Very simple. But lastly, this one is very important. They're going to give you a drug test. So now things have changed, you guys. So be very, very mindful with this drug test. Most of these schools now not only do a urine sample, they do a hair follicle sample, okay? And this is very important. You do not want to fail this test. I see and I know so many people that know they doing that, ooh-wee, are even worse, and they go in and they fail the test. Listen, it is better off to just walk out and say, you know what, this isn't for me. than to take that test and fail, because the game has changed. If you fail that test, even when you're first applying, now they put that on your record. So now if you want to be a truck driver, you have to go through a program called SAP, where they give you random drug tests and all that to complete, and you will not be able to be a truck driver until you complete that program. So don't even put yourself in that position. If you're going to be a truck driver, just cut the smoking out completely, leave the drugs alone. It is not worth it. It's too much money out here to put that in jeopardy. Listen, you're not at a warehouse no more. You're not at none of these rinky-dink jobs no more. You are going to be coming into a lot of money. So just put the drugs down, because I'm telling you, it's not worth it. Them hair samples do not play. We all know there was ways to get around them urine samples, okay? It was ways. But that urine, you're not getting around that. So don't even try it. Just leave that alone. So now to conclude this video, I'm going to give you 2 tips to think about or use when you're going to CDL school. So the first thing is, when you're doing your permit and you're getting ready to go test at the DMV, use Dmv Genie, okay? This is your friend. This is an app on your phone. It's both on Android and iPhone. Dmv Genie. This app will save your life. Let me tell you what I did, and I passed on the first time. So Dmv Genie has the same questions that is going to be on the test. The only difference is they just word it a little bit different. But if you pass those sample tests on Dmv Genie, you are going to pass the tests at the DMV. So basically, when you go to the DMV, when you take these 3 tests that they're going to give you, which is combination, general knowledge, air brakes, and sometimes they make you retake your Class C. These are the tests that's going to be at the DMV for your permit. Usually what they let you do is take one test, stop, take a break, come back, take another test, stop, and take a break. So when they do that, use that to your benefit. What I did is I looked at my Dmv Genie and I did a practice test for my general knowledge, okay? Once I passed everything, then I went and took the general knowledge test. Then I stopped, I took a break. Then I looked over my air brake test and I passed it on Dmv Genie. Then I went back in the DMV and took that test. Then I stopped, took a break, went over my last test, passed it, and then went back into the DMV and took that last test. I used that to my advantage because I knew if I refreshed and I passed everything on Dmv Genie, I was going to pass all of those tests. So use those breaks to your advantage. Do not try to take all these tests straight through unless you're 100% that you have all this information in your head. Now, to take it a step further, we're going to talk about endorsements. You do not have to get endorsements right away, and I don't recommend that you do, because that is a lot of testing and too much to learn and know at one setting. You have a year, if I'm not mistaken, to go back and add those endorsements on your CDL. And when you're first starting, I'm going to tell you, you don't even need them. Just focus on what you need to get your CDL. The next thing, tip that I want to give you is your verbiage. Now, when you're doing your underneath the hood and around your truck and all that stuff, and they're going to give you this verbiage: it's not cracked, it's not broke, it's not leaking, and there's some other verbiage in there. Here's a tip: you can never use too much verbiage. You can under verbiage, but you don't get dinged for using too much. So all of the verbiage, I don't care for what part it is, say them all. Then you don't have to worry about what verbiage goes where. If I use all the verbiage for everything, I'm going to pass. That guarantees you to pass. So that's a little tip that I hope helps you guys. I'm Trucker Harley. See you on the road.